Welcome to CrashMagic. In this video we've got another great card trick where we're going to attempt to find a card freely chosen by a spectator using the powers of a Divination Pendulum. I'll start with my performance, and if you enjoy it and are interested in learning how it's done, I'll show you all the steps in the tutorial straight after. I'm going to get you to select a card, and so I can't influence your choice in any way, we'll use these dice to introduce some randomness. So in a second I'll ask you to roll the dice, and you'll be able to choose whether to roll 2, 3 or 4 dice. Let's say for example you choose 2 dice, and if you roll a 3, we'll then deal off that number of cards, so 3 in this case, 1, 2, 3. Then I'll ask you to look at the next card and remember it. So in this case it's the King of Clubs. You'd remember this card and then place it back on top of the pack, and then the cards that we dealt, we'll place those on top as well. So how many dice would you like to roll? 2, 3 or 4? Let's say you've chosen 3 dice, and if you could give them a roll. Actually, before you do that, let's get rid of those cards that we've already seen. It was the King of Clubs, wasn't it? Yeah. Okay, that's better. Now, if you could roll the 3 dice, and you have rolled a 6, a 4 and a 2, so that's 6, 4, 2, that's 12, and you could have chosen any number of dice and rolled any number, but let's count 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 and 12. That brings us to this card, and you really could have chosen a different number of dice and could have rolled a different number, in which case this would have been a different card. If you could now look at this card, then I'm going to look away. If you could remember that card, and then we'll place it back on top of the others and place these cards on top. So it's fair to say I could have no idea what number you would roll with the dice or what card that number would bring you to. But let's make things just a little more random, because I don't need to know where your card is or what your card is. The only important thing is that you can remember your card and that you're able to see your card when I spread the cards out on the table in just a second. Because then I'm going to use a Divination Pendulum to find your card. Okay, let's spread the cards out then, and don't give anything away to me as to where your card is, but it's vital that you can see your card somewhere in this spread. Okay, I think all the cards are visible. Can you see your card? Good. I want you to be very aware of exactly whereabouts your card is, but try to avoid directly looking at your card from now on. I'm going to pass this pendulum over the cards. I want you to follow the pendulum with your eyes. Concentrate. Whoa, did you see that? That was quite a strong reaction around this point. Okay, let's keep it moving. Keep focusing on the pendulum. It's really still now. Keep watching it, and we'll move it back towards the center again. Again, a very powerful surge right near the center. Let's just check. Let's move it away. Yeah, again, it's calm as soon as we move it away. So we're somewhere in that center. Okay, let's move it back. Okay. Now I want you to look at your card directly. Sometimes it can be between a few cards, but that is a really clear sign. I would say there's no mistaking with that one, and I think that the card that you chose at random and remembered was the 6 of Hearts. So that was the trick, and I hope you liked that one, and here's the tutorial. For this card trick you just need a standard pack of cards, and we're going to set the cards up in a particular way. I then also use 4 dice, but you can instead just get your spectator to choose any number from say 5 to 20. And I also use a Divination Pendulum. This is quite a nice prop to use and is very cheap, but you could make your own, or you don't even need to. You could just use yours or your spectator's finger to point to the cards instead. So onto the way we need to set up these cards before the performance starts. and essentially we want all the blacks and reds separated apart from 3 blacks and 2 reds. So we have 23 blacks on the bottom and 24 reds on top, which then leaves us 3 blacks and 2 reds. So again, there's 23 blacks, 24 reds that go on top, and now we need a red card that's going to be our key card. So you can choose anything, but I'm going to use the Queen of Hearts, and that goes on top of the other reds, and that then leaves us with 3 black cards and a red card, and we're going to use these 4 cards as a bit of a convincer when we show our spectator how their card is going to be chosen. And these 4 cards go on top of the pack, and now we're ready to start. So we begin by explaining to our spectator how they are going to be able to choose either 2, 3 or 4 dice and roll them in order to select a totally random number. And purely as an example, we'll pretend the spectator chooses 2 dice and throws a 3. So we then pick up the cards and deal 3 cards onto the table and explain the next card would then be our spectator's card, so 4 of clubs in this case. Now all of this is firstly to demonstrate what's going to happen, but secondly to subconsciously imprint in our spectator's mind that these cards are just in any random order. In fact, of course, we now have our key card, the Queen of Hearts, on top, followed by all the rest of the reds and then all the rest of the blacks. So now we explain to our spectator that once they've remembered whatever their card is, we're going to place it on top of the pack and pick up the cards that were dealt and put those on top. Now, assuming we're using dice, we'll ask our spectator to choose 2, 3 or 4 dice that they will then roll to give us a random number to count down to. But then at this point we'll act as if we've just remembered that the cards we used as an example are still on top of the pack, and so we'll count those 4 cards face up onto the table. This again subtly shows the spectator that these cards are just random values and a mixture of black and red. And then we can place these cards on the bottom of the deck, which, unbeknown to our spectator, leaves our key card on top of the pack. Back to the dice then, and let's say the spectator has chosen all 4 dice. They will then roll the dice and add up the values. So this time we have 1, 2, 3 and 4, which makes 10. So we deal this number of cards down, so 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and ask our spectator to look at and remember the next card, and on this occasion it's the 4 of diamonds. Now it's important the spectator ends up with one of the red cards in the top half of the pack, which is why I use a maximum of 4 dice. And if you're instead just asking your spectator to give you a number, you should limit their number to a maximum of say 20 or so. So once they've remembered their card, you have them replace it on top of the main pile of cards here, and then we pick up the pile of cards that were dealt and place them directly on top. This of course is going to put our key card, the Queen of Hearts, directly onto their chosen card. Now if the spectator is following all this closely, they might realise that at this point you know the position of their card in the pack. But now we are going to fairly shuffle the cards by splitting the cards roughly into 2 and riffle shuffling the cards. And you can show that the cards are being genuinely shuffled, and it's this step that will throw almost everyone off the scent of how this trick works. At this point you can then spread the cards face up on the table. Now it's obviously really important that if you're going to claim to use some sort of paranormal type effect to locate their card, that the cards are fully spread out so the spectator is able to see every card including their selection. Now to identify their card as you're spreading them, all you need to do is look out for your key card, the Queen of Hearts in this example, and then your spectator's card will be the next red card to the right or above it. Now the cards are face up, so here is their 4 of diamonds. Of course, the other great thing about us doing that riffle shuffle is that any evidence of our initial setup is totally gone, and we've got a random mixture of red and black cards now. So it's now totally up to you how you decide to present and find their chosen card, either by using a divination pendant, or by getting the spectator to pass their hand over the cards while you hold their wrist, or any other way you can think of. But I think it's a really nice card trick that's incredibly easy to perform with no tricky sleights or card handling skills needed, that's going to fool anyone apart from a really skilled magician. Well, that is the end of this video, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please like and subscribe. If you've got any comments at all, leave them down below, and see you soon.